Hello everyone. I think I might be a couple of minutes late, but either that or I'm early. I don't know. So my name's Penny Whitehouse, and I just thought I'd come on today and show you some beautiful nature-themed invitations to play. It is so exciting. I love invitations to play. Because they're just so easy to set up. I mean, the ones that I've already set up to show you took me 15-20 minutes to set up. So hi everyone. If you can hear me, can you just let me know? I'm hoping that the comments pop up for me. It's been a while since I've done a live, so I've forgotten how it works. So just let me know if you can hear me, if that's okay, and also let me know where you're from, because I know there's so many of you that emailed me and said that you can't come, or that you will try and come, because I'm in Australia and many of you are from all over the world, and some of you, if you're in the UK, it's 1 a.m. So I'm sorry, but hopefully if I can get the tech right, I will make sure that I save it so that you can come back and watch it later. Oh great, I'm so glad. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Alyssa. That's wonderful. I'm glad you can hear me. If it gets a little bit noisy, let me know. I'm sitting out on the back deck of my house, and you can hopefully hear some nature out in the background. It's just stunning where I live. Usually we have cockatoos, very Australian bird that's very noisy, fly past, so that might happen too. Hi, Alex. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about nature-themed invitations to play. I'm going to try really hard to stay focused because I get a little bit excited about these topics and I tend to go off. I actually have notes because I get so excited. So I'm going to try and follow my notes so I can give you all the good stuff. Ohio. Oh wow, in Sydney. Wonderful. So we're going to talk about what an invitation to play is, because you might not know what that is. I'm sure most educators do, but there's plenty of parents out there probably don't know what an invitation to play is. We'll briefly talk about that. We'll talk about why they're so wonderful, how great they are to get your kids outside, and how easy they are to set up. They don't have to be complex. They can be really simple. And oh, Pakistan, hi. And we're also I'm going to show you some really great setups. I've already created, I think 5 little invitations to play that I set up, and it took me about 20 minutes this morning to set them up. So as I said, they're really simple, so I'm going to show you all of those that I've set up. My kids don't get to use them. We're actually going camping after this, so I have to pack them all up again. Because if I left these out, they'd have a field day. But anyway, why did I choose to do a live on this when we're about to go camping? Okay, so we are going to get into what an invitation to play is. So an invitation to play is just a simple setup, pretty much, of different types of materials. And of course, today we're talking about natural materials, but it's different types of materials that really encourage play. So it's pretty, they can be large or small, they can be indoors or outdoors. It can have one material, it can have, hundreds of loose part materials, but it's really up to you. And I just love them because they're so simple to set up. But there are so many wonderful benefits of invitations to play. And I should say, let me know if you have any questions while I'm talking. Shoot them through. We had a couple come through from my email list. So if you have any more questions, make sure you shoot them through. I can actually see your comments here. So that's really nice. So the benefits are that they get your kids outside. Obviously, you want to set up your invitations to play outside. If that's your main aim, is to get them outside, set them up outside, and hopefully it'll encourage them to get into play outside, and then hopefully expand on that play outside as well. So it's not just them playing with the invitation to play, but sometimes it goes in different directions, and I'll get to that in a minute. It promotes developmental learning. So for example, if your children are struggling with fine motor skills, so just if you don't know what fine motor skills is, it's the use of your fingers to be able to move things, and the dexterity of your fingers to be able to cut with scissors and things like that. If you're looking to develop those skills without putting pressure on your children in any way, it's so good to set up an invitation to play that encourages those skills. Obviously, an invitation play might go in a different direction, but if you can set them up regularly, you're going to be developing that skill that you might be struggling, or you might feel that your children are struggling with, so it's going to hone and enhance those skills. They encourage free play. So there's many children out there that might not be comfortable with free play because in this day and age, we do a lot of structured activities with them. So a structured activity is putting something in front of them and they have to do that one select thing. An invitation to play starts off a little bit like that, where you've got kind of an invitation that's exciting and your child's enthusiastic to get into because it's so inviting, but then they start to play and hopefully it'll move into its own direction and encourage free play. So it really does enhance that if your child's not quite comfortable with that. It's also prompts children to get curious and explore different materials that they might never have tried before. And it also gives parents some downtime. The ones that I'm going to show you shortly are all nature-themed invitations to play that have been tried and tested by my 3 daughters, but I can guarantee boys like them too because they just do. I've done it with other children too, my nephews, and they are so fun. And there's one particular one that I went to over and over again because I knew I could have a cup of tea when they were little, because they would spend at least half an hour playing with it. So I'm going to show you those shortly, but it is very good for a bit of downtime. Most of the time you have to supervise depending on the materials that you put out. But a cup of tea while they're playing is a nice place to be for times when you feel very overwhelmed and exhausted as a parent. Now, I do use invitations to play, and it sounds like I do a lot of invitations to play, doesn't it? But I don't do them all that often. I have to put a caveat on that because I think it is really important that once your children are comfortable with free play, to let them feel uncomfortable to get to that point where they're comfortable with it. If you constantly give them invitations to play, it can stop them from... It stops them from being bored and using their own imagination to come up with play. So I don't think they take away from free play, because if you let go and just let them take it where they want to, it is in its own sense free play. But it is important to let children get bored and have that imagination. And the reason why I'm so passionate about children developing their imagination is because it helps children move past hard times in their life. So when I was a child, I struggled through many different issues like teasing. I have red hair and like struggles at home, and all of those I could move past because I could actually see or have a vision to move. Like my imagination was so good because I spent so much time outside that I could see past it and knew that I had a vision when I wouldn't feel that way. So imagination is incredibly important. So do make sure that you set them up when you feel like, they're just not going outside and you're not sure how to encourage them to go outside, but make sure you give them plenty of times to be bored in their life too, so that they can, yes, Paula, just like that, being bored inspires creativity. Okay, so what do you need for an invitation to play? Do you need lots of money for an invitation to play? No, you don't. You just need whatever's in your house, or in our case, if we're doing nature-themed invitations to play, anything in the backyard, sticks and leaves and flowers and grass. There are so many things that you could get for free to create an invitation to play, and all the invitations to play that I'm going to show you are really, really cheap. They're super cheap. Most of the materials I've collected over time, or from my garden, or I went for a walk this morning and collected some flowers. I'm very conscious of the environment, so I don't usually take a lot from one space. So to kind of pick and choose as I walk along. But it's all out there and you can use it, and it's all free. So yeah, make sure you go outside and collect those natural materials. And you'll see I really love wooden things and baskets. You'll see them in all the things that I've created. There's lots of those. So yes, you just need a whole bunch of little materials that you already own or that you can collect that are really cheap, and you need an imagination. That's really important. You need to think, okay, you've also got to think about what does your child what's your child really interested in? You want to set up an invitation to play that's going to be really engaging for them. That's going to make them just go, wow, that's amazing. So if they're into dinosaurs, you want to set up a dinosaur invitation to play with a whole bunch of natural materials and dirt. If they're into aeroplanes, you could bring all their aeroplane toys outside and just set up like a little scene outside. There are so many things that you can do that are related to their interests. You just need to think about it and get creative. There is so many things that you can do. I'm just showing you a few. So some quick things to consider before I show you all the invitations to play. You want to think about the age of your child. So if you're going to set up an invitation to play, it's important that you're not setting it up so they're going to fail at it, or they're not going to, it's too hard for them, for example. You want to make sure that what you're setting up is really at their age level that they're going to engage in and play in. If you think that you want to set up something just a little bit, just slightly more advanced for them, that's okay, but you might need to model that with them. You might need to sit down and play with them first, and then they might get into it. But just be mindful to make sure it's at that developmental level. As I've said many times, keep it simple. You don't need to make it hard. Clearly define your spaces. So if you're setting something up in the backyard, now we love mud play. I actually had Jamie ask if I could do something about mud kitchens, but I think that's a whole nother live. I don't think, if you got me talking about mud kitchens, I don't think I'd stop, Jamie. So if you're interested in me doing a live all about our mud kitchen and some really cool ideas to place in mud kitchens, give me a like, let me know that you're keen for that, and I'll make sure that I try. I might even do that next week if I have time. So clearly define those areas. So if you're going to set up a muddy invitation to play, you want to make sure that you've let them know that this has to stay outside and not inside. So make sure you're reminding them of those clear boundaries, and have something set up so that cleanup is easier for you. I definitely don't shy away from mud play. It's super fun and kids love it, and it takes a really good, it gives them a lot of time. They really enjoy it. They just enjoy getting dirty, and it means that you can have another cup of tea. Okay, so make sure that when you set up their invitations to play, they're at their child's height or on the ground. If you set them up too high, they might not see it. Sometimes it's great just to set something up, not even saying anything at all, and just leave it there. And then usually the kids come up and go, can I play with this? What is this? And it entices them to be really excited about going in there. Oh, yes to mud kitchens. Wonderful. If you haven't heard of a mud kitchen, they're the best thing ever. They are the best thing ever. I have, my girls are a little bit older now. I have a 13-year-old and two 10-year-olds, so I have 10-year-old twins. And they still love their mud kitchen. Usually I have to clean it off, and once it's clean, then they're back in there again. It's really funny. Okay, I've got to stop talking about mud kitchens. I love them way too much. Use literacy when you can. So if you are setting up an invitation to play, I haven't done that actually. Sorry, I have not prepared them with literacy in mind. But it is good to have bits and pieces that are labeling items, just so that they have this, you're consciously labeling little bits and bobs with literacy. It just means that it's just an extra element on their invitation to play. And just always make sure it's interest-led. So whatever your child would be into is a really good option, and it's fail-safe. It's unlikely that they're not going to get into your invitation to play if you've thought about what they're genuinely interested in. Now, this is one thing that's really important. It's related to a parent's or educator's role when they've set up an invitation to play. And I can say very honestly that I struggled with some of these because I'm one of those parents that likes to see things pretty. You have to really learn to step back when you set up an invitation to play. So your role as a parent is to resist the urge to step in. So once they have their invitation to play set up, you just need to step back and let them play. For me, it was hard because I just wanted to go, oh, that flower would look really good over here. No, don't do it. Step back and just let them play. Oh, Karen, you're enjoying the birds singing. Yeah, it's so lovely here, isn't it? I'm very grateful for where I live. I honestly have to pinch myself sometimes and remind myself how lucky I am. Also, where was I? Oh, if your child's doing an invitation to play, and they've kind of started taking their play in a whole different direction, and you're like, oh, this would be really handy in this situation. So, for example, I'm just thinking of one particular topic where my daughters were doing vet play, and they were playing with all their toys, and they were being vets. And I remembered, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I just brought a thermometer in? So I set an invitation to play up and then forgot to think about putting a thermometer in. So you could, which is something that I probably would have done in the past, you get the thermometer and then you would go in and you'd be like, hey, here's the thermometer. What could you do with the thermometer? And then you kind of talk to them about it and go, this is what happens to them. And you've pulled them out of their play. Instead of doing that, make sure that you just subtly put it down right where they're playing and walk away. So they will probably pick it up on themselves. Most children know what they're doing and see things and go, oh, I kind of know what that does, and they'll figure it out. Or they might use it in a whole different way, but try really hard not to interrupt them while they're playing and just subtly leave something on the side. I used to do that. And avoid directing them during their play. And then when they look like they've finished their play with the invitation, you might be inclined to pack it all up really, really quickly. Just pack it up and put it away. It might be a good idea just to say to your child, you know, are you finished playing with this, or are you going to come back to it later? Sometimes it's really good to leave it a bit longer, because children sometimes get bored. They want to go out and do something else, or they might be hungry, but they might not be finished their play. So respect their play and just remember to ask them, are they finished with this? You might even like to leave it out for a couple of days. I mean, it's outside, so it's not going to be a problem. What I love about using natural... Oh, there's a kookaburra. Can you hear that? Very noisy. That wasn't the cockatoo that I was talking about at the start. Nice little kookaburra there. There's another one. It's about to go. They sound like they're laughing at me. I think he's just above the tree. You're very noisy. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me over that racket. Thank you. Okay. And yeah, so respect their play is where I was at. And the last one is just lower your expectations with your invitation to play. So just make sure that you're letting go of any expectation. You'll notice that I have some printables that I have out here that you can have a look at, that you kind of want them to look like the product that you've seen in the advertising, or in what you've seen them, how they've made. You want them to look like that, but more often than not, and the same with my website, you know, I do them with the girls, and I might tweak them for the photo just so it shows people, you know, the way that it could look. But children don't create like that. They just create and they play. So just make sure that you don't have an expectation that it's going to be this amazing masterpiece that looks exactly the way you want it to look. Just try and let that one go. Okay, so now is it time to have a look at, I'm going to take my socks off. It's a bit cold here today, so I'm wearing socks. I don't want you to see my socks. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around and you can have a quick look at, hopefully I can turn it around. Yeah, I can. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around and show you, which one should I start with first? I might start with the easiest first, and then you can have a look at just a really simple invitation to play that I set up. Okay, so the first one over here is literally the simplest invitation to play. It's, I'm thirsty. And of course I have a very dry bird nest fern here. Kookaburras? Seriously. So, oh no, I didn't test this before. Hold on. Anyway, get one that works. Just let me see if I've, oh no. Anyway, I think you get the picture. Just doing this is enough to get a child really excited about going and spraying the plants. So they might go and spray the plants and talk to the plants, and they might want to spray the wall or the floor, so it can end up in all sorts of things. And then of course they're going to spray you as well, so be warned about that one. But this is just a simple, really simple little invitation to play, the simplest. Okay, this is my favorite. Oh, should I leave that to last? I will, because it's my favorite. Here's one I just prepared that's not really a playtime, but it's just a way to encourage your kids to be outside and to just read. So I've got a whole bunch of beautiful nature books that are from our nature library, and yeah, it's just, and this rug my best friend crocheted for me. How gorgeous is that? So yeah, that's just another little place to play. You could also bring stuffed toys and set it up out here, or all their Legos can come out, and just bring toys out, and it's a beautiful chance to just sit in your backyard, enjoy the fresh air, and play with whatever you've put out for them. And that can be used in so many ways. Okay, I want to go through. I'm going fast so you can't see my favorite. Okay, the next one is this one here is just literally a bowl of sand and a whole bunch of natural materials that I have collected over time. And yeah, it's really, really simple. My girls loved this when they were little. Make sure you have it outside, otherwise it does get a bit messy. But they really enjoy making, so you can see how flat the sand is, and the finer the sand the better. But just rolling creates all these beautiful patterns. And kids just find it so mesmerizing. My girls just used to sit and play with it all the time. And once they were over it, they would just shake it again and start pressing more down. This is so good for them to just experiment with the sand and play with it. And then you can use a whole bunch of different materials, and you can say which ones make, there's so many things that you can play with them and ask questions, especially if they've already played and you want to talk about it together. What did they find out about when they were playing with this activity? But it's just so simple, really, really simple. And this one here is, these are just, I put this on top because I didn't want the wind to blow it away. These are just some printables from my Nature Play pack. Now that's free if you want to grab it. It's just, you just go to my website and it's a pack filled with, let me know if you already have this, but you'll see it's got a few things in it. The Nature Colour Wheel is really popular. There's Australian and US and UK version. There's different head faces. The tree that I'm about to show you, scavenger hunts, write your name with nature. So if you'd like to grab that, just go to Mother Nature, and I think it says free resources, and you can just grab that. But yeah, this is really easy. I've got a whole bunch of natural materials. Now, I do want to say that this is a really nice way to jump in and enjoy nature together before the invitation to play. Hold on, I'm just going to turn it around on me. So before the invitation to play, it would be so nice for you both, like whenever we do any crafts, and I'm a little bit of a craft nerd, with nature of course, I always go with my children to collect nature. I don't just collect it for them. So of course today I've set it up and collected nature for them. But if your children are home and they want to help with setting it up, it's so valuable just to go outside and look at different materials and go, do you think this one would be good for that printable and that activity? And yeah, you can just go out and enjoy that time together. So I'll just turn it back over and then show you what you can do with it. So it's really, yeah, it's so simple and fun. Quite like, as I said, I got all these flowers. I'm going to move this over. I got all these flowers from my walk this morning, most of them. And if you are an environmentalist, I know that some of them are weeds. and I'm very careful about not spreading seeds. But you can put sand and dirt on here, shells, and just look how pretty it ends up getting, just gorgeous. And the good thing is you can just shake it off and they can start again. And I've seen so many different versions of this. I've seen some kids with nose rings. I've seen like really long hair. I've seen just like really crazy ones. Every single one is different, and that's what I love about them. They're so unique. And of course with this one you can put leaves all over it too. Great for seasonal changes with trees. It's just, yeah, they're just so simple. So you can just set them up with a few materials. So you can see these ones, you can put all of those in there. I quite like crafting, if you can't tell. Okay, my last one. So my last one is my favorite. I think this is my last one. Yeah, it is. So this is my favorite. And the reason why it's my favorite is because guaranteed I was pretty much, I got 30 minutes from this activity, and I could guarantee if I set it up again, I get 30 minutes. We haven't done it for a little while, but even a 13-year-old and 10-year-olds would still love this activity. So I'll turn it around. Okay, so this one is our, we call it, or I call it, no, the girls call it petal potions. So you can see I've already set up our primary colours, and try to only set up primary colours. It's just food colouring. It's just food colouring and water in little jars. Then a whole bunch of natural materials again. And then these are all secondhand. These are things that I bought I don't know, years ago, probably from a secondhand shop, but you can use all sorts of jars. So really cheap, really easy. And then all you need to do is put, we might do a little one. Oh, and these jars are so cute, the little ones. I don't know if it's focusing very well, is it? There we go, that's better. So you just put all little, it's really hard to do this one-handed, guys. Put some cute little green dots in there. I don't know what they are. And this is one really good reason, because I did get quite a lot of this from my backyard as well on my walk. But this is why putting natural materials in, this is why putting nature in your backyard is so helpful, because you can just literally go outside and grab them. I love native plants. I'm a bit of a geek about that. Thought if anyone knows me and they're watching that I'm putting weed flowers in, they're going to be like, why on earth are you using weeds? Okay, so look how pretty that is. Just, it's not focusing again. There we go. And then, of course, what colours? Let me know what colours. Should we go green or should we go purple? We'll go yellow. But, oh, pipettes are amazing. This is a pipette or an eyedropper. It helps because they don't get it on their clothes as much, so they're not as dirty. And we'll go green because I love green. But see how they're learning how to mix the colours, and they might end up wanting to put in some red. It's actually quite enjoyable myself. So pretty. And so turn it around. So kids will really just play with that for ages, mixing those colors, putting different things, different bits and bobs in their invitation to play or in their jars, and they'll create all these amazing things that just take so much. It doesn't take any time at all to set up. That one probably took me 5 minutes to set up, just finding the food colouring in, back in the pantry, and mixing the water and grabbing some nature. It really doesn't take long at all. I think that was it. Did you enjoy those? I'd love to actually know some of your invitations to play. Have you set some invitations to play up for your children? Let us know in the comments below, because I know that everyone loves inspiration. If you're looking for lots of invitation to play ideas, there are so many on Pinterest. Just Google invitations to play on Pinterest and maybe put nature in there too, and so many will come up. There's just so many options for connecting with nature, just and setting up little invitations to play to get the kids outside. They're just so wonderful. So I just got some, love the suburbs atmosphere, the sounds of the nature birds. So, hello, oh well, from Singapore. Oh yes, Carla, I'm so glad you've got the Nature Play Pack. Make sure you use it. So many people download it and then forget to use it. So Teresa says, built recycled pallet play forts. Wow. I actually haven't shown you, but out the front I have a loose parts play, because my girls are a little bit older. So I found that they weren't going outside as much as they used to when they were little. So I have a loose parts play out in the front yard, and it has saws in it and pallets. We have all sorts of things in there, and that's kind of its own little invitation to play shed for them. Also, painting with water on concrete. Oh my gosh, yes, Tiffany. Spray bottles, paintbrushes and water. So simple, and they love it, don't they? Hi, Leah from Portland. Oh, hey, Lashley. Oh, it's been a while. So if you would, so that's the end, but if you would like the Nature Play pack, just head on over to my website and you can grab that. It's completely free. So just go on to mothernature.com and into the free resources section, and you can grab it yourself and set up your own invitations to play. But if you have any questions, if you'd like me to do more nature themed lives, please let me know, especially if you have a theme in mind. You're obviously all keen on the mud kitchen, so I might come on next week and do a mud kitchen live for you. I'll show you our mud kitchen. It's nothing flash, but it's great, and it was completely free because I have someone who helped me. And yeah, but if you have any other themes, like how to get your kids outside to go out in the bushland, I know some kids don't want to go hiking and things like that, I'd love to help. Or weather's an issue for a lot of people, so I'd be happy to come on, but just let me know what you'd like. If you have any questions, more Carla. No problems. I can do that. I can talk about nature and nature connection every day. I kind of geek out about it. Just don't start me on mud kitchens and native plants, because that's probably my weaknesses. I could just go on about it forever. But yes, so again, if you want the Nature Play Pack, make sure you go to my website, Mother Natured, and yeah, I'll be on again soon. So bye everyone.